Today I will show you how to change oil on a 2008 Volvo V50 all-wheel drive turbo, and I'll show you what kind of tools you need to use, what kind of oil filter, and it's very simple. So let's get started and we'll take it step by step. We'll remove this just so we have better access to the oil filter housing. This is a 8mm socket on a 1/4" ratchet. There's one bolt here and one on this side right here. Same size, 8mm socket. We're removing this just for better clearance access to the oil filter. We'll wiggle it out of place a little bit. We'll take a Phillips screwdriver and unscrew these 2 screws that hold down the air filter. Pull this out. The air filter is good, still clean. When we go underneath the car, we'll use this plastic little tub to catch the old oil. We'll use a 90mm socket on a 3/8 ratchet to undo the bolt on the bottom. So on the bottom of the car, before we can actually drain the oil, we need to remove this plastic cover, which is held down by these 10mm bolts, and there's maybe 3 on this side, 2 over here. So I'm just now going to remove this. We'll put this bucket under. Then we use a 90mm socket on a 3/8 ratchet and undo the drain plug. So this is the drain plug here, and I've already broken loose a little bit, and we can just do it with our fingers, and we'll make sure this bucket is underneath to catch the old oil, and we'll slowly undo it. I think on other cars it's actually, see, it's pretty black. It's only been about maybe 3,500 miles, so yeah, maybe I should change it sooner or often. On this Volvo, there used to be a 70mm drain plug, but it was a little worn on the edges here, so it was really hard to use the socket to break this loose since it was slipping. So I got a new drain plug, and this is a 90mm. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and remove that oil filter on the top. And to remove this oil filter, hopefully you can see it, I'll use a 36mm to remove the oil filter housing. And this is an extension. This is a 3/8 extension. Let's say maybe about 9 inches. We'll use of course, a 3/8 ratchet. This actually helps a lot because this is kind of on the angle, and we'll slowly turn. Okay, it's loose. Now we'll slowly turn it. And also make sure when you're draining the oil that you have the oil cap either completely removed or just partially. It will drain quicker underneath the car. And I'll get a paper towel just to catch any oil dripping from the oil filter. It's pretty black, dirty, and we'll put in a new one. So we're just going to remove this. Just pull it out, and then we're going to remove this old plastic rubber ring. This red rubber ring with a 5-head screwdriver, and just do this, and it's out. And we're going to save the old one just in case the new one, in any case, breaks or it's not a good fit. We can always use the old one if we have to. We're going to put this aside, and we're also going to clean the inside with a paper towel just to get any smudge, any dirty oil. This is the new oil ring. When you get a oil filter for your Volvo, you'll most likely get 2 rings. The reason is because this ring, the thick one, the black one with this little tab right here, this one is actually used for Audi and Volkswagen, and the round one, the thinner one, in this case it's white, but I'm sure it comes in other colors. I guess the reason behind it because all 3 brands, car brands, Volvo, Audi and Volkswagen, share the same filter, but they use a different gasket or rubber gasket seal. Before we install the new ring, which I've already done earlier, is that you're going to put some new oil on top of the new ring. Just kind of lubricate it a little bit, put some oil on your fingers and just kind of go around, make sure it's all covered in new oil. And then we're going to just put this on top of the housing, and when you put it, make sure it actually sits on this groove right here. Don't put it on the last groove, which a lot of people make this mistake of doing by putting it all the way here. We can now go ahead and install the new filter, and you may wonder which side goes where. Actually, each side is the same. So we're going to put this inside, make sure it clicks. So we're going to just ease this inside. You can also tighten it by hand. Also, you don't want to tighten too much, just enough to where it doesn't leak. Okay, I think this is good. It's a little stubborn, just comes right off. This one gets attached to the airbox like this. I'm gonna put this here, it's in there, and then we'll attach this thing right here. This one actually comes in 2 pieces. We'll attach this first. That one's locked in. Slide this here. Then we'll add these 2 screws. So I have tightened these 2 8mm bolts. Insert this air filter right here. We'll use a Phillips screwdriver. And what we can do, we can actually wait till all of this drips out and then put back the plug inside. So we're just going to plug this like this. And then we use the ratchet to tighten it. Here we have tightened it by hand as much as we can. Okay, so now we're going to use a 19mm socket on a 3/8 ratchet, and it doesn't have to be too tight as long as it's snug and the oil doesn't leak out. Okay, so now we're ready to pour in the oil inside the car. Putting too little oil or too much can actually cause major damage to the engine. So if you go online and look at what the oil capacity is for a 2008 Volvo V50 T5 AWD, it'll say about 5.8 quarts. This one actually has 5 quarts. And as you're pouring oil, you can have somebody else see if there's any oil leaking on the bottom, just to make sure you have tightened the drain plug tight enough. We'll just let all this drain out. This car has right now about 198,000 miles, and I use this oil. This has been proven to work pretty well. This is a high mileage 5W30, and I'm sure some of you may have different preference, which is fine. Just make sure the oil is compatible for your car. I'm actually at a half a quart, and then just start the car, check the dipstick, see what the level is, and have the car running a little bit till the whole oil circulates in the engine, and then we can measure again and see if we need to add any oil. Just remember, it's always good to add a little less, because you can always add more oil, but to take the oil out, it's a more difficult process. You have to again drain some of the oil from the bottom of the car. I'll put this back in there. Now we'll go ahead and check the oil level. Wipe this down. There's a lot of old oil in this dipstick probably. Put this back inside, pull it out. As you can probably see in this dipstick, there are 4 of these double X's, and we want to make sure it's like close to this last one here. Now start the car and take it off the ramp, and then have it run a little bit. Once the oil settles down, we can measure again, and if we need to, we can add more oil. So now we're going to check the oil again. I need to add a little more actually. and it's perfect. Right to here. Not really by the line, but very close.